Okay. Hi, everyone. Gonna give it a couple minutes to get people to join. Okay, I see that some people are joining, so I'll get started. Okay, so I hope you can see our guests right here. I'm gonna make them small for a second, and then we'll go back to that. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the final conference, the final event of the very first International Latina Engineer Week. I'm super excited. I'm super happy. And literally, I know that it was just an idea a week ago, was going to turn into a big conference, a whole week celebration with more than 300 Latina engineers registered, and so happy to meet each other. Just a year ago, I knew less than 4 Latina engineers in person that I could look up to, and now we have more than 300 here, and that's just unbelievable. Role models are probably the biggest things that can get you through these types of careers. So I'm super happy that we're able to connect with girls that are in different states, different schools, different countries. That is just amazing. So I'm super excited. I want to say big thank you to everybody that has helped me, everybody that has donated for the scholarships, all the girls that volunteered their time to make this happen. I just told them one night, we're going to do this. And everybody was like, yes, let's do this. And just the welcoming from everyone, just like the attitude, the happiness that everybody had to this event, I just couldn't believe it. And I'm super happy to be creating this, and it is something that we want to repeat every year from now. So let's make this grow as we go, and let's get started. So I have a couple news before we start. So the first one is that we're going to have a scholarship for Latina engineers, and this scholarship is actually still open. So if you're watching this and you're a professional, you're done with school, and you're able to donate anything, we really appreciate it. The donations are still open. You can go to the link, it's on the description. So if you can donate even $1, just go to the link right now on the description, go back, donate whatever you can, and then come back and we'll be here. And then at the end of this very conference, we are going to announce the winners. As of right now, we are able to create 2 scholarships for 2 Latina engineers in the US. So I'm super excited about that. Another thing is that we have 2 job opportunities that if you're an engineering, you can apply to. The information will be in the link in my bio in my Instagram. You can go to that after we're done with this conference. It's not available right now, but it will be there. They are remote positions, so you can be anywhere in the country and you can apply for those positions. And that's great because one is an internship and the other one is an engineer position. So that's super great. And then besides from that, we have a giveaway. We have an amazing giveaway. We have a sponsor, which is the company that's posting the 2 jobs that I just mentioned. It's LPO Financial by Ana Reyes. She reached out to me and she told me, I want to help you. I want to donate something. So she made us able to create this scholarship, and she's also, she wants to hire other engineers. So if you're looking for a job, they will be available in the link in my bio in my Instagram after we're done with this. The giveaway and the scholarships will be announced at the end of this live session. So if you want to be here to cheer, we'll cheer with you. If you are the recipient of either or, stay tuned until the end. And then before we start with our amazing speakers, the amazing topics that we're going to cover that are super helpful, I wanted to talk a little bit about Latina Engineer. So Latina Engineer came from just me feeling alone, because I feel like a lot of Latinas in engineering feel the same way. It is hard to come around, to meet another one in the same school, in the same state. It's so difficult. And just creating my site has allowed me to meet so many other Latina engineers, and it has changed my life. It has brought the motivation, that inspiration to keep working hard, to build a community that I did not have when I was in college. So that was just amazing to be able to have. And then just to be able to inspire another Latina, to be able to help them in any way, whether it is telling them about internships, telling them about scholarships, creating scholarships for them like we're doing right now. That is just what fills my heart with joy that I'm able to do that. And as far as this conference, it started just from wanted to showcase all the Latinas that are in engineering. I started asking people, Latina engineers, to send me pictures of themselves so that I could put a collage of all the Latina engineers. And at the beginning, I thought I was going to get maybe 50 pictures. And it started growing. I started getting more and more, and then I decided to make it a whole week celebration. And then from there, it came a whole week conference event, and that was just amazing. So this whole week was just, it was focused on showcasing all the Latina engineers around the world, sharing about how powerful we are, how amazing we are, how intelligent, and all the different areas that we are in engineering. But also bringing resources to all of these Latinas to empower them and to help the next generation succeed in engineering, because we wanna get a spot in STEM. We wanna keep growing the number of Latina engineers around the world. So I think with that, I am going to present the speakers. Let me bring them back into the screen. Hi. So we have an agenda of 5 speakers, and give me a second so that I can pull up their bios. Okay, so the first one is going to be Gina Moreno. Let me introduce her. Gina Moreno is a program manager at Microsoft. Prior to Microsoft, Gina has had the opportunity to work for multiple aerospace and automotive companies. Let me show her. Her work includes analyzing IT systems to implement new software, optimize processes, analyze data, and evaluate risks. Gina holds an industrial engineering bachelor's degree and systems engineering master's, and has a big passion to continue to bring minority communities to STEM and normalize the diversity that this brings. And with that, I'll let you take it.
Yay! So, hey everyone, first of all, thank you so much, Diana, for putting all of this together and for that great introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to be here today because just doing this kind of outreach is really important to me, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So I'm going to head and share my screen and get started with our first workshop. So I'm going to be talking to you about landing the job that you want. And here it is. You can see it in the screen now. So I'm going to be talking to you about landing the job you want every time. It doesn't matter if you're just graduating college, or if you're looking to switch roles and you're already a professional. I see a lot of people struggle with it. So I kind of figured like there must be some kind of formula. So I think I have, some start to the formula. So I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 pillars that I have figured out so far. So let me change my slide. It's not letting me change it. Oh, there you go. So, who am I? ¿Quién soy yo? Yo soy Gina Elizabeth Moreno. I'm a first-generation college graduate from El Paso, Texas, and as Diana mentioned, I hold my bachelor's in industrial and my master's in systems engineering. Through my experience, I've jumped from automotive to aerospace to now in tech, and I'm a current program manager, so Diana did a lot of the good work in introducing me. What I'll say is that now I'm involved with a lot of recruiting efforts. I've gone to conferences in schools prior to COVID in person to recruit diverse talent to Microsoft. So it's something that I'm really passionate about. I think there's just a lot of blind spots that us as minorities have that we don't know about. So I think it's one of my main missions to make people self-aware of what these blind spots are, such as how to get a job, or how to get an internship, or how to navigate the corporate world. Through this journey, I found a lot of inner work is needed, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of self-discovery, a lot of need for confidence. And in the end, I realized that I'm passionate about this diversity because we can be multidimensional beings. We can love engineering and math, but still love to listen to Bad Bunny. We can love to do science problems and do anything else we want, such as dance, something that I enjoy truly. So a fun fact about me is that I love to travel. So I've been pretty sad due to COVID. I haven't been able to do it, but we'll get back to it as soon as it's over. And one of my life philosophies is let the fire in your soul shine through the fears. So I'm going to jump straight into the 4 pillars that I have for you today. Oh, and I have to change my slide. Sorry, I'm learning. Okay, there you go. So the first pillar is to be intentional. you are not going to get the job that you want if you don't know what the job that you want is. So it seems kind of obvious, but you need to know what you want, or at least have a big idea of what you want. So we're going to start this workshop by doing a brief reflection. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about the 5 things that you see yourself doing in your next job. What are those 5 non-negotiables? What do you really, really want to do? And I'll give you about 5 to 10 seconds while I drink water for you to think about it. Okay, so I give you a few seconds. Now tell me, do you think this was easy or was this hard? For most of us, it's pretty hard to know exactly what we want. And I want to leave you with 2 things that might alleviate some pressure from you. One, what you want is not going to define your full career. Like, you're not going to live your entire life doing this thing. I think that takes off so much pressure, because it's like, oh, what I'm going to do for my rest of it. No, it's not. It's not for the rest of your life. I promise it's not going to define your whole career. The second thing that might alleviate some pressure is that there's 1,000 paths to get to the same place. You are exactly where you need to be and will end up where you need to be. There's no rush. There's no pressure. I hope this really helps you just like take the pressure of like just knowing exactly what you want. You know why? Because you're never going to know exactly what you want. So some of the things that you can do besides reflection to know what you want is to give an opportunity to new things. Just say yes to every opportunity that interests you, to every opportunity that you want to learn more about. Always say yes. And Paulina is going to talk a lot more about this, but in general, just be involved and learn new things, and you'll start getting to know yourself. Like, what do I like? What do I not like? What do I really enjoy doing? And so you can do a lot of these things through exploring, or you can also journal and meditate. Those are the 2 things that really help me like set a path of where I wanted to go. So that was pillar number 1. And if you can notice, I have a picture of some seeds. So that just represents the beginning of the process. This is where your dream, where your goal starts. Okay, I'm going to move to the second slide. Okay, so the second pillar is to do networking. And we had a lot of great gals talk about this through Latina engineers, live sessions and takeovers. Karina was one of them. She was talking about networking. And so what I want to say about networking is more about creating a meaningful connection. You want to get into the same environment of people who vibrate in the same frequency as you and want to do the same things that you want to do. This is the best way to get closer to what you want to do. The other part is you want to speak the same language. Sometimes we can feel like we are very far away from them, but I promise that we're not. So I'm going to dive into these 2 separate things. So to create a meaningful connection, and I'm sure Paulina is also going to elaborate on this, you can do it many different ways. I just want to congratulate you for being in this conference today, because that means you're investing in yourself. You are investing in a better future for yourself by getting to know amazing women. So that's the very first part, conferences. 2 is to have mentors, and you can have these mentors to organizations such as SHIP, Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers, SWE, Society for Women Engineers, Latinas in Tech, and many others. Another thing that you can do is through events. So right now with COVID, you really can leverage social media. You can go on LinkedIn, you can go on even Instagram. Like, you'd be surprised how many people you can meet. Like, I didn't know any of these girls, and now I consider them really close friends just because we met on social media, share our love to each other, share our support. So you'd be surprised how much social media how far it can take you if you use it intentionally. The second part to pillar number 2 is to speak the same language. So when you reach out to the people that might be in the same frequency as you, you want to form a personal bond. We are people, right? We are not robots. So I want you to just speak from what you've learned and what you want, and be prepared. Like, talk to as many people as you can and do a lot of research. Like, this will help you just better explain the ideas of what you're trying to say. Since we already reflected on what you want, when you talk to people, be bold on that vision that you have. Say, these are 5 things that I really enjoy doing, and these are the 5 things that I want to do. So I'm going to share them with you, and be bold about it. Like, it takes a lot of courage, but I promise when you put it out into the universe gives it back to you. So you are one step closer to your job that you want. And the final thing that I want to say about speaking the same language is to share your story. Share your story in all the ways that you can. And I'm going to dive deep into sharing your story. I really like the pauses because I get to breathe, because I'm told that I present and I talk really fast. So I'm going to take a deep breath and realize, okay, so now we are in pillar 3, applying and talking to the recruiters. This is my bread and butter because I've been in both sides of the spectrum in just a year. I've been the person trying to get a job, and I've been the person hiring people. So I have to say 2 things about applying and talking to recruiters. Your first priority is to stand out. You want to make sure that you have the perfect resume. Like, when I look at your resume, I want to be able to say, wow, like, she has everything that I was looking for. Like, how did she know? But that's where the magic comes in, right? Because you have to mold your resume exactly to the position that you want. This means that you're going to have a different resume for different positions that you apply to, not just a generic resume. And the second part to this is when you talk to people, even if you reach out to them on LinkedIn, you're going to share your story with your relevant experience. And I'm going to dive into that in just a second. But first, how do I have a perfect fit resume? You're going to mold all the experiences that you have in context of what you want. And how are you going to do that? You're going to tell me what you did and how you did it. And you're going to tell me the results and the impact of what you have. So let me take a step back. I've seen a lot of resumes that tell me what they did, that tell me maybe how they did it, but they don't tell me what were the effects of what they did. They don't tell me, like, pues, ¿qué pasó con eso? Like, what was the purpose of that, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's just say that I'm a cookie stand manager. I manage a stand and I sell cookies. In the resume, I might have baked 75 cookies. Okay, you tell me what you did. You baked 75 cookies, but that doesn't really tell me how that played a role into your team or the company, right? So, and then you tell me how. Okay, I baked 75 cookies by following a recipe. It's like, okay, this is where the molding comes in, because if you're following a recipe, that tells me that you can follow a recipe for any other thing. So it's great that you tell me how. Now, the magic happens when you give me the results and the quantifiable impact. So if you tell me, I baked 75 cookies by executing recipes that led to $100 in sales that day. So that impact is really what's going to catch my attention as to, like, wow, like, you really know how to tie everything together. And I know that if my priorities change, you're going to have that bigger vision. So that's how you're going to have the perfect fit resume. And it doesn't matter if you're baking cookies and you want to apply to a lemonade stand, those skills are still going to be transferable. So that's how to have the perfect fit resume. The second thing is that we all hear about having a pitch, right? Having the perfect pitch. This is who I am. This is what I've done. This is everything. But what they don't tell you is a great way to stand out is to share your story while you do it. Tell me about what you learned and how that applies to what you want. This is where that authenticity comes in. I'm telling you exactly who I am, and you're going to remember me. And not only that, but we're going to create a great connection. So next time you see me, you're going to remember me. And there's a great story one of my friends told me. So he's also a recruiter, and he told me that once a student, he basically got a potato out of his pocket, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna be that potato, that guy that had a pocket, that guy that had a potato in his pocket, and you're gonna remember me a year from now. And he was like so mind blown, because he's like, oh my God, like, I'm always gonna remember that guy that had a potato in his pocket. And so I don't know if that's the best strategy. I would say the best strategy is to share your story. what makes you unique and what makes you special. And you don't have to use just your work experience. Tell me about how you're involved with the community. That makes you unique. Tell me about your personal projects. And even if you're in school, tell me about your school projects. Or if you're taking online courses and are out of school, tell me about that. So that's pillar number 3. You can see the flower flourishing and it's looking quite beautiful. So we're getting there. The last step is finally game time, is when you're interviewing and negotiating. This is the part where you're going to evangelize who you are and bring your value proposition to the table. This is where everything is pushing. We are a huge, beautiful tree. So the biggest advice that I can give you when you're interviewing and negotiating, and this is like a whole nother topic. I can make a presentation out of each one of these things, but I want to make sure to just bring everything that I have, is to be confident in the impact that you have. Now that you already made a reflection in what you did and how that impacted other people, how that impacted my organization, now I'm confident in what I bring. It's like, yeah, I did that. And you're going to be confident about it because that's what you bring on to the table. I don't just bring Gina Moreno, like the impact that I had. I bring Gina Moreno, the person that's great working with other people. I bring that enthusiastic spirit. I bring that motivation to other people. So that's my value proposition, like my whole story. By the way, you're always going to have to do this in your career. You're always going to have to advocate for yourself. You're your number one and best advocate, and nobody's going to beat you to it. Like, you need to be the person that says, like, I've done everything and this is what I bring and you need to hire me now. And if you believe that, everybody else will believe it. So start practicing, because you're going to have to use it when you want to get promoted, when you want to get more money, and anything. You're going to have to know your own value proposition. The last thing that I want to leave you with is I want you to walk with the confidence that there is literally no one in this world like you. There's literally not a person like Fernanda. There's literally not a person like Paulina or Diana. You're just one person that has lived your own life and your own experiences, and no one can take that away from you. And that value is money. That is money for you and for you to claim. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. And we are finishing and we are flourishing. We're the tree that has the dream job. So I know this was a lot of information, but I hope you were able to digest some of it. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if we have time. If not, you can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn and my Instagram. My LinkedIn is Gina Moreno. Send me a message and say, hey, I saw you in the International Latina Week conference, or send me a message on Instagram, which my handle is Gina E. Moreno. And yes, thank you everybody for joining, and it's been a pleasure presenting to you all today.
Thank you so much, Gina. If you have any questions for Gina, drop them in the comments. We're going to be reading them live. So if you have any questions, we're going to read them right now. Let me make this not the... Okay, now Gina's on the spot. So she's so happy to answer your questions. I want to give you a quick update that we reached 2,000 into our GoFundMe. So that will mean 2 $1,000 scholarships. And I want to encourage you that if you are able to help us donate, the link is in the description of this video. I'm going to keep watching it. And then if we reach enough money to do a third scholarships, then we'll have a third scholarship. If not, whatever else we are able to raise, we're going to divide it between 2 people. So let's make that third scholarship happen. I am super excited. Like, just being able to support other Latinas. I myself benefited from a bunch of scholarships through my college. So I know what it means to receive a scholarship, and especially when it's, from this type of events that, motivate, empower, and just overall it's great for Latinas in engineering, brings us together. So I don't see any questions yet. Does anybody have a question for Gina? Come on, it was such great content.
There is a question in the chat.
Yes.
You want to read it?
Yes, it says how to work in your self-confidence when you don't have it. Oh, this is a very big question. I would say the first thing that you need to do is get to know yourself. And this is going to take a lot of work, right? Like this is going to take a lot of like spending time with yourself, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, and spending time with loved ones. It's like if you were to give the love to another person, but give it to yourself, like spend that time with yourself. And once you learn all the unique things that you have, it's like, oh, you know, I never noticed about me. It's just like with any other person. When you notice that value, you start being like, hey, you know, that's cool. Like, this is me. Like, this is what makes me unique. And I'm not going to tell you that that's going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process that's going to take weeks, months, years. It's a long process, but once you've had it, like nothing can stop you. And I want to say, if you don't have the confidence now, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but like take a deep breath and like just jump. The more you practice and the more you jump to uncomfortable situations, you're just gonna learn how to perform better when you're put on the spot, like things like this, and you'll get to see how you progress. So those are my 2 pieces of advice. I hope that helped.
I see.
There's another question. Yeah. What if you're a student who doesn't have work experience? Okay. And how do you approach the recruiter? Okay, that is such a great question. You're going to take anything that you have and you're going to use it to your advantage. Anything. I'm talking volunteering. I'm talking your classes. I'm talking any type of research that you have, any type of personal projects, and you're going to talk about those. When we hear people be passionate about what they've done and being proud of their work, we're like, wow, you know, you be a great person to talk to. You'd be a great person to work with. So let's just say you've done volunteering. That takes a lot of project management. That takes a lot of people management. That takes a lot of emotional intelligence. So when you do these things, think about like, how can I mold it in a way to the job that I want? So that answers the question. How do you negotiate a salary when you get offered the position you apply for? That's great, because I just did this like 3 weeks ago. So what I did, basically don't negotiate until you get the offer. When you know that they love you and that they see your value, this is your time to shine and negotiate. I personally did a value proposition of what Gina Moreno brings to the table. And you can do this very different ways. You can do it via email, you can do it via call. It's a lot more pressure when you do it on a call. Basically, you're gonna tell me, what do you bring and what impact do you bring? So for example, I divided into 3 things. I said relevant experience and education. I learned what you're trying to make me do in school, and I already did it for another company. What does that mean? That I can ramp up a lot sooner and I can help the team optimize your processes. The second thing, I think, I don't remember what it was, but another one was just like my I literally said unmatched passion and drive, because you're not gonna find anybody that works as hard as me. So like that's a huge value prop. You'd be surprised at the people that you find in corporate America. Like everybody's really serious, and like I don't know if people don't like their jobs, but like it's something really unique that you can bring. So when you're negotiating, you bring your value proposition and say, hey, this is what I'm worth. Like, tell me if there is more budget, because I need to get paid what I'm worth. So that's basically how you do it. Yeah, so I think I missed some questions because I can't see all of them. Diana, how much time do we have?
You still have time, so I can read you some of the questions.
Yes, please, because I can only see like the top 2 comments. I can't see all of it.
Okay, how can you have an interaction with a recruiter if they're not attending any virtual career fairs that we have access to?
That's a great question. So this is where you use LinkedIn, and I know Paulina is going to do a great elaboration on that, but just briefly, when you know what you want to do, reach out to the people that are doing what you want to do. And like there's a whole thing, right? Like make sure you do your research, say like what you're interested in and how what you've done applies to what you want to do. Like that's the biggest thing, because I've seen people struggle in changing positions for over a year, and I'm just like, so what are you telling them? And so you just have to picture that every time you talk to a recruiter, you are selling what you bring. So every single interaction counts. And I mean, that puts a little pressure on you, but it gives you opportunity to say, hey, I need to be really intentional about what I'm saying. So I would say that. How do you find your voice in a male-dominated industry? I'm a student still, and I'm finding that a lot of my male peers don't take my opinions and input seriously at times. Oh, that's a great question. And I think like even outside of engineering, just working women will be minorities for the time being. So this is why we're doing all the work that we're doing, because we don't want to be minorities. We want to be we want to have the seat at the table. We want half and half, right? So for now, to find your voice, I would say, as I was mentioning right now, you need to jump. And the thing is, like, it's gonna be really difficult if you're a person that, like me, that wants everybody to like them and is really bubbly and like, I don't picture myself being like strong and this like, oh, like this is my opinion and you're gonna take it kind of thing. You can still be yourself and you can still state your opinion in an educated, wonderful, authentic way, right? Like if you're seeing that people are not listening to you and say like it's going to be hard, but you're going to have to face it up front, and you can say like, hey, I noticed that every time that I talk, I'm not being listened to. Is there a particular reason why that is happening? And you can ask questions that they're gonna be uncomfortable, but that's the point. We want to make people uncomfortable, and I hope that helps. And now Paulina, I'm looking at Paulina, and I'm like, I'm waiting for you to jump in. But she's gonna have a great section for that too. Yeah.
I have one more question, and then we'll move to the next topic. So it is, how about renegotiating salary?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
How about I'm sorry, renegotiating salary? So I figure you're working, you have your salary, but you wanna, get a raise.
More. Okay, yes. So that comes with promotions, right? And getting more money. It comes back to the same thing. I would say, yes, bring your value proposition, what you bring to the table, but this time you're gonna come with impact. You're gonna ask like, what is the necessary impact that I need to get a promotion or get to the next level? And once you ask that, every single good thing that you do, you're gonna keep a notebook and you're gonna quantify it, because in corporate America, you need to, be really direct, and you need to have numbers. Like, this is how many. I mean, if it depends what you're doing, right? But let's just say your goal is to send out surveys, and you want people to fill them out. You're not going to tell me I sent out 100 surveys. You're going to say I got 95% of the people that I sent the surveys to fill them out. That's my impact. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't know the answers to the questions that you're trying to solve. So like I would say like it's similar to the value prop, but it's really being an advocate for yourself and not being afraid to have those conversations. And I don't even want to say like not being afraid, because I feel like in the back of my head, I'm always like scared to have this conversation. I'm just like hiding behind, everything's like, no, don't look at me, but like, give me more money kind of thing. You're always going to be scared. Or if you're a person like me, you're going to be scared. But there's more weight in the value that I bring and what I deserve. So that's why like I take all the courage that I have and just go for it. And the more you do it, the better you get. So hope that helped.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Gina, I did have a question that is just general. If there's still time to apply for scholarships, we did already went through all the scholarship applications that were closed today in the morning. They were closed. We went through every single one, so unfortunately we can't accept any more applications, but we're ready to move to the next topic. I am actually going to bring Paulina next, because the topics are really connected and go with each other, and then we'll go to Lara next. So Paulina, let me make you hear the spotlight. And Paulina is going to talk about job searching and EHS, and then let me give you her bio. So Paulina, she's an environmental health and safety engineer. An EHS engineer protects employees from environmental and occupational health and safety hazards in the workplace. As an EHS engineer working in aerospace, part of her job involves designing and creating new machinery and manufacturing engineers that support safe production that is safe in line with federal, state, and local regulations.
Hey guys, thank you, Diana, for that beautiful introduction. And I just want to say, Gina, you did an amazing job with your 4 pillars, explaining in detail on how to get the job every time what you want. So again, let me kind of introduce myself. Let me share my screen here. Hopefully this works. I hope I have no technical difficulty. Ay, Dios mío. Let's get this started. Okay. Okay, share. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. Okay. Diana, I might need you to just let me know if you can see my screen.
I cannot see it.
Okay. That's okay, no worries. Let's do a share the screen one more time. Application window. Oh, here we go.
But I see a lot of people excited to see Paulina.
Okay, how about now, guys? Hopefully.
Not yet.
Not yet. No worries, no worries. I may need to have Gina just sign out of the sharing of the screen, maybe. Okay, if I can't share my screen, that's okay. We can still move forward. I'm an animated person. So.
I can't see it. I know we had it earlier. I don't know what's happening.
No worries, no worries. Okay, for whatever reason, if it doesn't move forward, that's okay. There's tons of things to talk about. I should be able to still share a video, so no worries. If we can't share the screen, don't worry. This is a perfect opportunity to also show you as entry-level engineers going into the field, when things don't go right, you still have to make do. So let's go on. So a little quick about myself. My name is Paulina Castrillon, and I am an environmental health and safety engineer specialist. Some of you might not know what that is, never even heard of it, just like myself when I too started in university. So what is an environmental health and safety engineer, specialist, and industrial hygienist? So an environmental health and safety specialist is someone who is put in a dangerous environment and has to go ahead and figure out with administration controls, engineering controls, and different type of regulation controls to keep the environment safe and the employers in the facility safe. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a perfect example here, okay? So I'm working with Jane Doe. Jane Doe works in a manufacturing shop. Jane Doe works with heavy machinery. Jane Doe only speaks Espanol. So keep that in the back of your head, okay? Jane Doe comes to me and says, Paulina, I'm working with this machine in an enclosed environment, and this machine is spitting out fumes, un dolor that is giving me a headache, Paulina, and I don't know what it is. So, okay, this machine is getting me soaking wet with something that I don't know. Okay, my job as the environmental health and safety engineer is to then go do an investigation. I'm going to look at that machine. That machine happens to be an abrasive cutting machine. I'm going to go see what is Jane Doe cutting. Jane Doe is cutting some metal. So I'm going to teach you guys a little bit of chemistry here. And if you guys know some chemistry, follow along with me, all right? I love chemistry. So metal is not toxic until you cut and do a heat application. Jane Doe is doing that heat application to that metal. Jane Doe, ay Dios mío, él no sabe. He doesn't know this. He's just his regular average Joe coming to work 9 to 5 to make his money and go to his family. It's my job to know this. So I know with the heat application to this metal, Jane Doe is smelling by routes of exposure, because you can get routes of exposure from injection, ingestion, and absorption. He's smelling these toxic fumes. So that's number one, okay? That's one number thing right there in occupational health. Number two, these fumes are going into the environment. That's number two. Number three, I see that Jane Doe doesn't have any PPE on, because remember how I told you he's getting todo mojado? You know that splashback? That's chemical. So PPE is personal protective equipment. This is something that we're kind of all familiar with COVID. So with PPE, it's my job to then sit down with Jane Doe, his supervisor and manager, and work with all other engineers to figure out the applications to make his work process safe and make it a good productivity and skill. So I'm going to sit with the supervisors, managers, and the team and say, okay, Jane Doe comes to work 8 hours a day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, works on this machine. Jane Doe has been exposed to blah, 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 blah. We need to make sure that Jane Doe stays healthy so he can go home back to his family in one piece, safe, and still produce good productivity for work. Because again, you need to always remember, as a company, it's still business. We need to keep it rolling. So that being said, the environmental health and safety engineer, I will go ahead and investigate in the chemical by reviewing the SDS. I will reach out to South Coast Quality Air Control, doing sampling for air and making sure we do not abide by the regulations. And I'll make sure I look and investigate the right type of PPE and specifications that are required for this individual. Now, this is just one example. Environmental health and safety is broad. I myself have worked in many different industries. I've worked in construction, pharmaceutical, agricultural and horticultural, and now I'm in aerospace. So a little bit about myself there with what is an environmental health and safety engineer. I want to jump into now how to get you from an entry-level engineering position, intermediate engineering, to a senior level position. So that's something that I am. I'm a senior level engineer, part of upper management. And I know sometimes that transition period can be quite difficult, can be quite confusing, or a little unsure. How do you get there? And I see a lot of the questions here. We're talking about negotiation, we're talking about salaries, and this is something where I'm going to go ahead and dive in. All right. So here we go. I have 10 tips. And again, if I can't do it on the PowerPoint presentation, we will make do. 10 tips on how to advance your career from an entry-level engineer to a senior level. Number one, if you're working right now, I need you to raise your hand. So what does raise your hand at work mean? It means I want you to make the time to volunteer your skills to that project that you might adhere or might be participating in. However, do not volunteer your time if you cannot meet your core responsibilities. So that's key, okay? I'm talking to you guys, the entry-level engineers. If you're an entry-level engineer and you have a lot on your plate, make sure you can do what you can do first before you take on another task. If you know that, hey, this project looks awesome, this is cool, I want to be part of this design, great. We always want more engineers, but make sure you don't fall backwards, okay? We're going up. We want to prove to management why you deserve that position, all right? Number two, keep an open mind, embrace different perspectives. So this is very important. I myself, as an environmental health safety engineer, I work with all types of engineers, from chemical, civil, manufacturing, industrial facilities. I have to be open and listen and learn from all the engineers because my decision-making can affect a certain department. For example, Diana is a manufacturing engineer. At her manufacturing industry, she's working on a 3D printer. I have to work with Diana on her 3D printing machine and ask her, your 3D printer could probably produce some waste, could probably have some hazards to it, and probably has some regulation standard codes through OSHA. Now, if Diana says, blah, 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 Paulina, I don't want to listen to you, an environmental health and safety engineer has every right to stop work right there. That's the strength of an environmental health safety engineer. We stop production in a second if we feel that they or any other engineer or any type of productivity of work is being done unsafely. So it's in my best interest and in everyone's best interest to work together so we have that growth. So remember, keep an open mind and embrace the different perspectives. Number three, find a mentor. So number one, I want to thank all of you guys right now. This is that mentorship that we are doing today. If you're a civil engineer, an environmental engineer, and you know somebody in the field that you definitely look up to, reach out to them. This is that time to network, like Gina was talking about, reaching out to them on LinkedIn, reaching out to them on social media. Ask them for those professional advices. Not only that, as you excel in your career, you will need your mentors, especially when it comes to job applications, when you might need that. Hey, the recruiter is going to say, do you have any people that would recommend you? So-and-so. This is a great opportunity when you've developed that personal connection with your mentor to help you grow. Number four, share your ideas but force them on others. How many of us have worked with other engineers or other colleagues, and we've heard the term mansplaining, right? And they want to force and pressure their ideas on you, but you as a female have wonderful ideas. Well, guess what? This is your time to speak it out, but also be observant and listen. Your ideas as strong women too could probably put a little pressure on someone. So always remember to understand everybody's point and think thoroughly through the points that are being said, because your decision is your representation of your work. So you want to have a good execution and a good buy-in through all parties involved. Number 5, observe, listen, analyze, and act accordingly. So this is something big. All of us in the STEM community, we're not perfect. We have days and we have bad days. I myself, I have my days. I talk about it on Instagram. But that being said, leave the emotions at the door. It's so important as an engineer coming in senior level and upper management, you have to make the decisions that are calls for big productivity, big money, and calls that will affect all different departments. You cannot be clouded. You cannot be sleep deprived. You cannot be sad. So if you feel that you're not in the right mental state that day, that's okay. That's okay. Take time to yourself. Mental health is super important. If you need that time off, if you need to maybe delegate that project to another engineer, or maybe talking to your mentor or someone a little bit more experienced than you to get that execution going. I cannot emphasize enough when I've seen engineers come into the office, and I know, you know what, we all have our personal life. Maybe they're going through a breakup, a divorce, a family member passed away. It's our responsibility to look out for our colleagues and say, hey, so-and-so, maybe this project you're doing today is, you know what, let's give it to so-and-so. We're taking you off of it. Let's just more help and involvement. Because remember, this is still a business and we want our business to thrive. And that also shows great teamwork and great execution, okay? So keep that in mind. Mental health is so important. Don't forget about your mental health. If you need help, speak on it and ask for help. I'm gonna go on to number 6 here. I have my little notes. Like I said, we come prepared. Don't limit yourself with the information presented to you. I can't tell you how many times as an entry-level engineer, I would go around and ask for help. And that's what we're doing. Can you help me? Can you help me? But listen, someone might give you things, but don't expect for handouts. And even if somebody gives you something, don't take it and go. It is your job as an expert, someone who graduated from college, going for that senior level, to do your homework. So for example, if I ask Lara, an R&D materials engineer, and I say, hey, I'm going into your lab, and I need you to provide me with all the SDSs. And she gives me all the SDSs in her lab. I can easily trust her and say thank you and go about my day. And that's it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go take those SDSs that she provided for me. Thank you for that, Lara. But then I'm also going to go to that lab and I'm going to look at those chemicals and I'm going to make sure those chemicals match that SDS. Do not assume that everyone's looking out for your best interest. Do your homework. Go get it yourself. Now, granted, there will be some people who are there to help you, but there's nothing wrong with double checking your work. Remember, you're going to the top. You want to be the boss. You want to be senior level. We want to get you from here to here. So do your homework. Be prepared. Number 7, keep track. So I see a lot of questions in regards to money, negotiation, salary. This is something that I love to talk about. During your time as an entry-level engineer, in most companies, we have annual employee performance reviews. This is a perfect opportunity for you to speak up and talk about that shmoney, okay? So keep track. So how do you keep track? Right now, I want you to create, when we're done with this, create an Excel spreadsheet. And if you're in college, if you're in university level, do it right now. If you're an entry, intermediate engineer, however, get an Excel spreadsheet. I want you on the tabs to put your year, and I want you to put all the projects that you've ever done. So if you're at work, I want you to list the projects that you're currently doing, that you're about to do, and the projects that are unfinished. If you're in university right now, I want you to list the year and I want you to list the tools or the certificates that you're doing. So maybe you're a civil engineer and you took a soil and dynamics class. or a seismic class. Maybe you did a great project in that, a survey report, list it. Because guess what? As the years go by, I'm 5 years now into the field. Let's be real. As the years go by, you will forget this. You will forget the wonderful things you've done. But you have that Excel spreadsheet that you can go back to and remember, hey, oh yeah, in 2015, I did this and this. I know how to do it. This is going to help you keep track. You're going to take that Excel spreadsheet to your annual employee performance review, and you're going to sit down with your supervisor, your manager, whoever it is. And when they say, Paulina, we're so sorry, we don't feel that, we can take you to that senior level this year. You're going to say, thank you, but I feel because I've done, boop, 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 boop. You bring up that sheet. You're going to list all the projects that you've completed, the projects that are open and projects unfinished, but not just list the projects. I want you to talk about how your projects benefited the company. So for example, I myself, when I worked in a chemical manufacturing in the Bay Area, one of my first tasks was to develop an ergonomics program. What is ergonomics? Ergonomics is essentially the study of applications to the human body, human performance, to the desk and industrial settings. So very make it easy terms. When you sit at your desk all day like I am, you can develop awkward posture. Your back can hurt. If you work on a machine, working on fitting controls, this is awkward posture. This can lead into an injury. So my job was to take something from ground zero and turn it over. Once I started doing that, my management felt that I wasn't ready to be a senior level, but yet I did a whole entire program. But see, this is my mistake. I didn't keep track of the injury. So when an employee gets hurt at work, that's money. That's part of workers' comp. That's finances. So I want to show the company the improvements that I made financially in their pockets. So it doesn't matter what you do as an engineer. If you're in R&D, manufacturing, so go for the money. Whatever project you do, keep in mind, how am I benefiting them and how's it going to benefit me? Okay, so keep track of your stuff. This will help you negotiate your salary. This will help you negotiate your title change, and this will help you negotiate function level. Another one is respect and appreciate leadership. I cannot emphasize this enough. It does not matter if you are the CEO. It does not matter if you are the VP. It does not matter if you are the janitor or the engineer. You need to be kind to everybody in the office. Believe it or not, in management, I myself, when we do hiring, I look at that. I want to know that you are a team player. I want to know that, you know what, you're easy to work with other members. Because as that senior level engineer, you are going to work with other people. And if I see that you cannot work with other people, you are the representation of us. And that's not something that I want on our team. So remember, kindness goes a long way. Number 9, be yourself. As Gina explained it wonderfully, being yourself will take you so far. You have to remember, the company hired you because they saw something so amazing in you. Don't change that. You bring value to the team. Bring your shine so you can outshine everybody else and outperform them. That's the key here. And number 10, don't compromise your loved ones, your core values, and your integrity to advance. I can't tell you how many times I've seen young engineers coming into the field saying, I don't care about so-and-so, I'm going to throw so-and-so under the bus. I don't care that I work Monday through Sunday. I'm a hard worker. I want to remind you right now, throwing someone under the bus as managers and supervisors, we know that. We see that. And that's not what we want. We know that you can work as a team together. And if there is some issues going on within your group, speak up. See if you can talk to your colleagues or speak to your supervisors or managers. But don't ever do something that is going to lead to any altercation, anything that would be inappropriate, or anything that could harm the company's reputation or the department. Remember, you are the representation of that company. We want to get you from here to here. You're that leadership level. So that's 10 top tips that are going to help you advance. And something I do want to emphasize here, when you're working towards your entry-level jobs, be mindful in the back of your head that You're going to be doing a lot of work. You're going to be under a lot of pressure. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to make a mistake. I can't tell you how many times I've made mistakes and I felt like shame. I felt I'm a woman, I'm a Latina, I'm the youngest one here, and everyone's putting everything on my plate and the amount of pressure on my shoulders. It's okay. It's temporary. It's not permanent. If you want that position, that senior level, you can. Believe it or not, when you come to your managers and your supervisors and your colleagues and you ask for your help, your colleagues will talk behind your back and say, hey, did you know I on her noise survey? The noise survey went excellent. It went phenomenal. We protected blah, 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 and we did outstanding with the city of Los Angeles. That's better than, you know what, Paulina's not having a bad day and she didn't do it. Think about that. Remember, it's not about you, it's about the business. You want to grow in the business. Before I show a final video, I want to go ahead and talk about applications to the job. Once again, Gina listed all the key points: LinkedIn, reaching out to the recruiters, going out there and getting it and advocating for yourself, because no one's going to go get it. But I want to share a very small story with you. I'm an environmental health and safety engineer working in aerospace at Lockheed Martin. I share this story a lot on my Instagram, and the girls here know my story. I've applied to Lockheed Martin over 25 times. Over 25 times. Since 2016, every year I apply, and I've been denied every time. I was very fortunate and lucky enough to get the position at an upper management senior level, and I now work there. However, I want to remind you, just because somebody tells you no right now doesn't mean that it's going to be no forever. If you want to work at NASA, you can. If you want to have your own company, you can. If you want to have your own conference, just like Diana is creating, you can. Whatever you want, you need to take those right steps. I couldn't get into Lockheed. For whatever reason, they didn't want me, and that's okay. I then moved to a smaller private corporation in aerospace, where I learned the fundamentals and terminology of aerospace, so I could take that, absorb, grow, and then I could move to a bigger company. So not only did I get hired for a big company, but I got hired at a senior level. Grow. Just because you didn't get that dream job doesn't mean that it's gone. You will still get it, but still take those learning lessons to grow. I cannot emphasize that enough. So we're going to stop on tips, and let's see if I can share a video with you guys that I had planned, because this video is wonderful. So let's try one more time. Okay, let's go here. And I may have Diana let me know if you can hear this and see this. Can you guys see this?
We can't see it now.
Yay! Okay, let's play this video.
Doing the right thing. That is what we do. We care for our families and we care for our friends because it is the right thing to do. We care for each other in our cities, in our villages, at school and at home, and we care for each other at work because, well, it is the right thing to do. We care for each other at work by protecting each other's health, protecting each other from the hazards, the dangers at work. Chemical hazards, such as harmful liquids and gases, biological hazards, such as bacteria and viruses, and physical hazards, such as too much noise and heat. We also protect each other from the hazards of repeated movements, such as sewing, assembling parts, and typing, where we make the same movement again and again. And we protect each other from the mental and emotional stress at work that can cause illnesses and injuries. And the reason we protect each other from all these hazards is simple. Because at the end of the day, all of us want to go home in good health, to care for ourselves, our families, and our friends. It is the right thing to do. Now at work, the name for all this protection is industrial hygiene, which is also called occupational hygiene, but it all means the same thing. Both industrial and occupational mean work, and hygiene means protecting health. In other words, we're simply talking about protecting people's health at work. When we do this, we plan ahead so we can identify these dangers at work and study these dangers at work so that we can decrease those dangers, or better yet, remove those dangers completely, no matter what kind of work we do, no matter how big or how small. For example, people's breathing and health can be harmed by possible hazards, such as dust or spray painting. These hazards can occur at large operations, such as construction sites or industrial painting sites, at small and medium operations, and with one person working alone. But regardless of the size and type of work, the people who are key to all of this are the industrial hygienists. They are the champions that protect workers. They are the eyes and ears of the workplace, the ones who help find health hazards and correct them. So, how do they do it? First, they start with expert scientific knowledge in chemistry, biology, and physics, and mathematics, and toxicology or poisons, and epidemiology or diseases, and, well, you get the idea. Then, they focus all that scientific training at strong ethical standards, also known as doing the right thing, and bring all these skills to the workplace. In the end, industrial hygienists are about people, listening to people, talking with people, working with people, protecting people from workplace hazards. Together, workers and industrial hygienists form a team where everyone plays an equal part, where industrial hygienists bring their technical knowledge to the workplace, and where workers bring their personal knowledge and expertise about their work, their values, and their relationships. And this team shares one purpose, something that we all value, that everyone understands how to protect themselves and each other at work so that everyone goes home in good health at the end of each day. Now at work, there are a lot of things going on. Workers, managers and supervisors, budgets and costs, equipment and materials, production. And industrial hygiene works with all of these. First, industrial hygiene connects workers' physical safety with environmental health. This protects not only workers, but also everyone in the surrounding community. Industrial hygiene unites workers and managers so that everyone comes together to protect each other. Industrial hygiene also links healthy workers with a healthy business, where healthy workers create a healthier and stronger business with fewer illnesses, fewer injuries, and fewer costs, all creating greater health and greater productivity for everyone. But most importantly, industrial hygiene connects work at home, because when everyone's health is protected at work, those same workers can care for and protect their families and friends when they return home. It is the right thing to do. Today, hundreds of millions of workers across the globe remain at risk from work hazards. Over 2 million people worldwide die each year due to work-related illnesses and injuries, with 160 million new cases of work-related illnesses occurring each year. And in addition to all the human suffering, these illnesses and injuries create an economic loss of 4% of the world's gross national product. But with the improved use of industrial hygiene, just imagine how we could use that money to improve people's lives, improve their work conditions, and improve productivity where they work. So how can we improve industrial hygiene, occupational hygiene, where we work? The American Industrial Hygiene Association, AIHA, can help. AIHA connects industrial hygienists and workers
All right, guys. So hopefully you guys saw this video. That video is a quick description of what I do every day as an environmental health and safety engineer and industrial hygienist. My job at the end of the day is to take all of these wonderful applications within the STEM community, from environmentals, math, science, toxicology, you name it, and make sure that you and your family, when they leave work, they go home safe. So otherwise from that, I'm apologies in advance for whatever reason my PowerPoint presentation could not show, but I will make sure to leave all of my contact information provided here in the chat. You can always reach me. That's my first and last name, Paulina Castrellon on Instagram, or Paulina Castrellon via LinkedIn. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, interested into the field, please feel free to contact me. I'm always here to help you. If you yourself are experiencing any unsafe acts at work, any due related to hazards, feel free to reach out to me. I have no problem helping you out. And once again, if you're that entry-level engineer, take Gina's wonderful tips, apply them, have them help you, and let's take those tips that I recommended to get you to that senior level engineer. Once again, you are capable of doing anything and everything, whatever dream job you want, don't give up. And I'm going to leave it from there unless there's some questions, Diana, if you guys don't
There is one question, and we actually only have time for one question.
That's okay.
It is, how do I know how much I can request? And I'm thinking about salaries.
Salary. Yeah, no, of course. So requesting for your salary is very important. Number one, you need to know the location of where you live in. So for example, I myself as an environmental health safety engineer, I will go ahead and go on LinkedIn salary request, or type in on Google, environmental health safety engineer, Los Angeles, entry-level engineer. It will go ahead and give you an estimated value of what that job title might be. Because remember, San Francisco pay salary is completely different from Chicago or New York. So location is key. The other thing is years. How many years have you been in the field so you can apply it? When I was an entry-level engineer, I started off with 2 years. I worked in Los Angeles. I needed to make X amount of money. As I kept growing with projects, I added more zeros to that. That's really, really important. And number 3 is, again, like I mentioned before, the projects and executions. What projects did you complete, and what projects brought the value to the company? So location, that years that you put in, and the execution of your projects. Those 3 are going to help you negotiate that money up. If you have any more questions on salary, please feel free to contact me. I have no problem helping you negotiate and getting you out there and finding words.
Thank you so much, Paulina. Like Paulina said, she will be on Instagram and LinkedIn available for any questions that you have. I do want to make some announcements before we move to the next topic, and is that there will be a giveaway at the end of this video, and everybody that registered for International Latina Engineer Week has been entered. So we have selected from the list. So if you're in there, stay until the end so you can see if you won one of these gifts. We have a ton of them actually. And then there's a scholarship. So if you apply for the scholarship, the recipients will be announced also at the end of this conference. If you are a professional, or you're not a student, or you're able to help us, there's a link in the description of this video where you can donate. We're trying to raise as much funds, and depending on the amount, we will decide if we can create a 3rd scholarship. As of right now, we have 2 scholarships of $1,000 each. Another thing is that there are 2 job opportunities that were given specific to us to share with you. They're engineering positions. They are remote and open to everyone, and they will be listed under the link in my profile in my Instagram after this conference is done. So I will leave it in the comments as well as we're finishing up. Now, ready to move to the next topic, we have Lara. She will be covering mental health and work-life balance. And Lara, let me make you the spotlight. Lara is a research and development engineer. She specializes in high-temperature composites for aerospace applications. Lara graduated with a bachelor's degree in material science and engineering with a minor in manufacturing. In addition to her engineering career, Lara is passionate about traveling and investing. She is a mental health advocate and focuses on personal development for women. She believes work-life balance, as well as making time for other passions, is the key to a successful career in life.
Thank you, Diana. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining today. Let me try to go ahead and share my screen.
I'm waiting for it. I'll activate it as soon as I get it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, let me make this bigger. Okay, so can everyone see that all right? Are you ladies able to see that?
Yeah.
Cool. So, hey everyone, my name is Lara Wabaya, and today I'm going to be talking about mental health and work-life balance. Because yes, we're engineers, or we're working to be engineers, but our mental health is the foundation of what will be our career and our success. So let's start with a little bit about me. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I moved in 2010 from Spain, and I've been living in the US for about 10 years now. One of my favorite things to do on my free time is exploring the outdoors, traveling, like Gina and a lot of the wonderful women here. We love traveling and getting to meet new people in new places. My full-time role is as a research and development engineer for the aerospace industry. I work for Collins Aerospace. And like Diana said, I focus on high temperature composites. So my job is to develop these new composites for a variety of applications that go into an aircraft. I've been so lucky to work on different parts of an airplane that I thought it was fascinating. So also, I guess, on my free time, I work on renovating a house. I bought my first house 3 months after graduating college. I don't know if any of you out there like the IGTV shows. I was obsessed with those. So I decided to do some real estate investing. And I also love photography and communicating through like photography and storytelling. Another thing about me is that I did struggle with generalized anxiety, and occasionally like it does come back. And unfortunately, this is something that is very common among students and women, especially women in underrepresented fields like engineering. So why am I telling you this? Because our experiences matter. Our experiences are unique, and we each go through our different journeys, our different paths. And yes, there's days that are going to be great, and you're going to be doing very successful things, and you're going to be landing that dream job because Gina already taught you how to do that. And you're going to keep moving up because Paulina told you how to do that. But some days aren't going to be the best days. Some days you're going to spend your whole day writing your code and it's not going to run. Some days, like I've had days where my equipment broke down and I couldn't complete my tests. There's going to be days where like pressure, there's going to be, you're going to try to meet deadlines and you're going to feel like you're not performing at your best. And that's only at work or at school. Like there's days where I maybe didn't get the best grade on a test, or where I was struggling to continue doing well on a class. While on the side, there's life, because your work and your job is not your complete life. There's other aspects of your day that are like, there's like personal struggles. Like you got to figure out how to explain what you are studying or where you're working with your family. Like you're going to have to figure out, I think a lot of first-gen students and a lot of immigrant students have that difficulty or that barrier trying to explain, what does an engineer do? Like for me personally, I learned what material science and engineering was when I was a freshman, and that's how I decided to pursue that major. But in reality, I didn't really know how to explain that to my parents, because my parents didn't go to college. And yeah, they had this idea of what an engineer does, but not specifically what like a research engineer does on a day-to-day. I had to explain to my parents how I like submit patents and these little details about life, talking to your STEM routine or your STEM courses to friends that might not be on that same major as you. So there's these little things about life and work that might make your day is a little more difficult and challenging at times. So how this is going to look on your mental health is it's going to make you a little frustrated. It might change your mood. It's going to make you feel anxious and stressed. And it might get to a point where sometimes you're going to question yourself. And that's why I find this an important topic, because it's important to acknowledge that this is going to happen. Like it's sort of inevitable, but there's going to be times where you might not feel at your best. So you need to learn how to take care of your mental health and implement a work-life balance routine that's going to work for you based on what your school or work and your personal life looks like. Because if you don't take care of your mental health, it's gonna lead to like not performing as well as you want to perform, and other negative effects on your actual routines. So the common conditions that I've come across from being around students and recent graduates are these 3 conditions: imposter syndrome, burnout, and anxiety. So let's start off with imposter syndrome. What is imposter syndrome? I didn't learn about imposter syndrome till after I graduated college. And I sure wish I knew this was a thing, because I'm not kidding you. There were times where I questioned if engineering was for me or not. I didn't know. There were times where I did question and ask myself, do I really belong in this engineering program? Do I really want to be an engineer? Am I really cut out for this? But what imposter syndrome is, or what it does, is a psychological pattern in which you believe that you're not really capable of doing what you're doing, or that you don't deserve your accomplishments. There might be times where maybe you land the job that you want and you got there, and you're going to ask yourself, why did they pick me? Why, like, there could be someone out there who might be able to do a better job than I'm doing. But this is when you have to stop. These are like thoughts that are going to cross your mind, and it's going to happen. But we're going to, here I have a list for you of some actual strategies that you can use to get these thoughts out of your head, because you're in the position that you are in because you worked for it and you earned it. You are right where you need to be and you belong there. So yeah, other people might have more experience than you. Other people might be getting better grades than you, but that doesn't take away from your success. So this is something that I think both Gina and Paulina mentioned, is you need to write an I did it list. You need to keep track of your accomplishments and the things that you are good at. These little, tasks that you're able to complete, you need to keep track of them to make sure that you can go back to that and validate your success. Say yes to new opportunities to build experience and intuition, because everyone is kind of on the same boat when we start right after college. Like, yes, we got our education, we took our courses, and we graduated. We all graduated. But after graduation, it's a fresh new start. And you need to understand that taking on new opportunities is the only way you're going to build experience and build your confidence. So with these thoughts that are going to cross your head, you need to acknowledge them. Acknowledge that they're coming in, they're crossing your mind, and they're going to be present, but don't engage with them, because you're going to go down a dark path and you're going to keep like doubting yourself and questioning yourself. And it's not going to be, that's not a proactive way to approach it. But it's always important to not neglect the thoughts, acknowledge them, and let them go, like afuera, to just let them go. Another thing is asking for help. Asking for help is something that I'm going to reiterate throughout the presentation, because it's definitely one of the most helpful and efficient tools that a lot of people have found helpful. This is why we're having a conference. This is why we're having little presentations about these, because this is having a network and being able to find a mentor or get a connection or find a team of people that are going to be in your corner is going to help you keep that confidence in yourself. And then you're going to be able to take that constructive criticism or constructive feedback and learn from it, because everyone needs feedback. That's how we learn, that's how we grow. And if you feel like you might not know something, asking for help and getting that feedback from what you're currently doing is going to continue building your confidence to decrease the symptoms of having imposter syndrome. And unfortunately, it's very common for women to experience that because of unfortunate societal, how society was structured. You know, like years ago, we weren't, like less than 100 years ago, we weren't able to even vote. So unfortunately, we're breaking these stereotypes. We're really succeeding in making room for us at the table. And unfortunately, it's going to take some work. And hopefully these are some tips that you can continue using to get you through those tough times. Oh, one last thing, practice affirmations. This is something that I like to do on days where, let's say, I have to present my data. Like if I've been running tests on the lab and I have to present my data to upper management or my customers or different parts of my teams, I do wake up in the morning and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you like you did this, you ran your tests, you did your research, you analyzed the data, and you're ready for that presentation. You have to practice your affirmations in the morning to make sure that you got yourself, because at the end of the day, you're your biggest advocate and you gotta have you have your own back. So next, okay, so the next one is burnout. What is burnout? It's essentially the feeling of being mentally and physically exhausted. Your emotions feel drained out, and it essentially comes from excessive and prolonged stress. We usually feel like this from being overwhelmed or maybe not being able to meet all the demands and expectations that we set on ourselves. So it's very common. We're very ambitious. We are goal getters. We want to move up. We want to get that raise. And there's all these tasks that we want to complete, but we can't burn out from it. There's different stages of, I guess, that lead to burning out. Because when you first start your new job, when you first start a new task, or when you first start learning something new, you're going to feel excited. You're going to go through that puppy phase. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. But then you need to be able to keep that energy and that momentum to help you meet your goals. If you drain right at the beginning, it's going to be very difficult to reach your goals and continue, I guess, staying motivated. So how do you protect your energy? How do you regain that focus and that energy to keep you working towards your dreams? Again, you turn to other people. Like there's days where I do like send a message to Paulina and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling like, I feel like I need a break, or I feel like I am just exhausted. And they will remind you, your support system will remind you to take a break. They will remind you of all the good things you're working towards and all the good things that you have accomplished so far. And it's important to just reach out and be vulnerable when you're having those moments. Never be ashamed to take a break, ever. Breaks are needed in order to continue and meet your goals. Without breaks, I don't think anyone could ever achieve all of the tasks and all the goals that they need, because you need to have a balance between like work, and then fun, like work hard, play hard. That's true. Like you got to do that. Another thing to prevent burnout is reframe your relationship with school at work. I feel like a lot of people, or I've seen a lot of people, especially in corporate America, who let their careers define them, as in they tie their identity to what their role is, to, I guess, their position at work. When in reality, there's more to life than just your job. Yes, you want to continue, you want that promotion, but that doesn't mean that you have to go into work at like 6 a.m. and not leave and turn off your brain until like 8 p.m. I know so many people who like do their 9 to 5 and then go home and are still thinking about work. What can I do? And yes, I know there's going to be times where there's a deadline coming up, and there's going to be days or weeks where you're going to have to put in more hours. But that also means that you're going to have to make time and include time in your schedule to do stuff that you enjoy. Keep those habits. Like for me, it would be rock climbing. I personally like rock climbing, and I make sure that at least twice a week I put in 1 or 2 hours to go do that. I honestly, I could be doing work. Those are 2 to 3 hours that I could be doing work, but it's a personal choice to make sure that we go and do something outside of work and outside of school to give our brains a break. That ties to reevaluating your priorities, because at the end of the day, you should be your biggest priority. I was listening to a podcast, and they asked the audience or the listeners to make a list of the people that you care about the most, or who do you love the most. And most people listed, their significant other, husband, family, parents, siblings. And a lot of people didn't even add themselves on that list. It's kind of crazy to think about, because when you're making that list, not a lot of people think, oh, like the first person should be myself. You are your biggest priority, and you should be at the top of your list. With reframing your work-life balance relationships, something important that I have found very helpful is creating boundaries. Before I move on to anxiety, I want to talk about the importance of boundaries and why you should care about having boundaries and enforcing them. So what is a boundary? Essentially, it's this space or line that you draw between yourself and another person or another situation. So the purpose of this is to keep healthy relationships with your work, your school, your classes, your friends. This helps you protect your energy, protect yourself, while being able to give other people. A lot of people think that boundaries are just, oh no, I'm just gonna keep to myself, or I don't want to have anything to do with other people. I don't want to give. But the beauty of boundaries is that it allows you to have that balance of self-love while giving your energy to others as well. Because even with giving a conference or volunteering or taking part in organizations, you're doing it because you enjoy giving back. Or at least for me, when I volunteer, is like I enjoy giving back to my community. I enjoy mentoring younger girls. But I wouldn't be able to fully do that if I didn't have a boundary of, let's say I can only take 2 girls to mentor at a time. If I try to pick up, let's say like 10 girls to mentor, I'm going to be drained. I'm not going to be as efficient. And this is why having that boundary in specific situations is very important to protect yourself and keep yourself motivated and with energy to continue towards your goals. So how do we create these boundaries and how do we enforce them? This is very tricky, and it essentially is kind of you will experience kind of a lifestyle change, because it will change your habits. You need to identify the parts of your life that need boundaries. So let's say your friends want to go out every single night when you're in school. Well, because of COVID, that's not happening. But I've been in college, a lot of people go out on the weekdays and go out on the weekends, but maybe you have an exam the next day. You need to know where to create that boundary with your friends in order to respect your priorities, but also being able to enjoy yourself and experience those memories with your friends. Maybe not with going out or with traveling. I know for me, it's I need to travel in order to, enjoy and have fun. But at the same time, I can't be traveling all the time because I need to keep my job and I need to complete my tasks. Be very specific with your boundaries. So for example, when I talked about the rock climbing, set an hour of your time in your schedule to that hobby or that activity that you want to do. So in a way, tell yourself, I will dedicate 2 to 3 hours every day to doing something that I enjoy. Don't just say, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk. Be very specific of how long you want to do it for, when you want to do it, and how often you want to do it during the week. And for this, something that I found very helpful was Google Calendar. I schedule my day like by the hour, and I specifically block a chunk of time for myself. Like one day I will be thorough with my skincare routine. Another day I will go for a run. Another day I'll go rock climbing. But it's at least an hour every day that I will dedicate to myself. Another thing is you don't need to explain these boundaries to anyone. These are for yourself. You don't need to feel guilty about them. This is for yourself, and no one else fully needs to understand it except for you. So don't be afraid to say no. There's no need to apologize or really say sorry to other people when you're not able to meet their expectations, because that's not on you, really. And you need to be able to, I guess, build that confidence to say no, don't feel guilty, and be very assertive with your boundaries, because they're protecting you so you can also give back. Lastly, anxiety. I feel like for each one of them, there could be an individual presentation about them. Anxiety is basically feeling worried, stress, but throughout, not just from, let's say, a stressful situation, like if you're trying to meet a deadline by midnight or trying to submit a homework assignment by midnight, it's constantly overthinking, not being able to sleep, procrastinating, or just feeling this constant feeling of being worried, and unfortunately, when you suffer from anxiety, there's other different problems that come with it. Like you'll get headaches, you'll have stomach issues, and it will mess up with your personal, physical health. So with strategy, I think Gina also mentioned this previously. You're going to have to be very mindful with yourself. You're going to have to sit with yourself and get to know yourself, so you're able to identify when you're getting these anxious feelings. When are you feeling triggered? Or what are some experiences that might make you feel more stressed or anxious? I know a lot of people, I think a common one is feeling anxious before giving a presentation. So what are some things that you can work on and be mindful about to relieve those anxious feelings that you're feeling? It's important to make sure that you identify these triggers so you're able to know how to address them personally, because it can develop into something more long-term. Unfortunately, there's people who suffer from anxiety, and I guess it ends up turning into a feeling that prolongs for weeks, not just a day, but weeks and months. So if you don't take care of your mental health, these sort of symptoms and feelings are gonna take away little pieces of you, and you're not gonna be able to fully be yourself. I guess to be able to fully cope with anxious feelings, you need to make sure you practice empathy and acceptance with yourself. Feeling anxiety is something that unfortunately a lot of people suffer from. I was doing some readings and research, and approximately 70% of new graduates from school who graduate from university end up suffering from anxiety at different points in their early careers or throughout their careers. So you're not flawed. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to prioritize yourself, take care of your body, have mindfulness, and know that this is only temporary because you are going to address it, So to wrap up or to finish off, I want you to know that it's important every day in the morning when you wake up, let go of the thoughts that don't make you strong. Let go of those thoughts that don't make you feel valued, that make you question yourself. Those thoughts are not going to help you with your self-love. They're not going to help you. They don't serve you. For things or people that don't serve you, you need to be able to let them go out of your head, out of mind, out of sight, or I think that's what they say. But yeah, you need to make sure that you implement like positive thoughts, reinforcing thoughts into your head, because your mind and your head is essentially where everything starts. If you want to, I guess, going to work or perform well on a test, if you want to manage a team when you continue moving up, if you want to do well on your senior design, these are like thoughts. Your thoughts that go in your head and the feelings that go into your head are the foundation of everything and will lead and dictate the way you perform. So I hope you found that helpful. I'll leave my contact information over there, and I've also listed the National Helpline for Mental Health, which has the website, and the helpline has a lot of really good resources. And I've also listed some accounts to follow on Instagram. Again, you can find me on Instagram at Lara Wapaya or on LinkedIn. And I would love to connect with you and talk about whatever you would like to talk about. I feel like we're all here to help others, really to just, I guess, share our stories and find different ways to connect and help anyone who's going through a similar situation than we are.
Thank you, Lara. I'm going to leave the screen up for a second so that they can still see it. They can reach out to you. They know your Instagram, LinkedIn, and email. We do have some questions. I know we're running a little bit behind, but I also want to take a little break after this, and I'm going to start with the giveaways just for the people that are watching so they can start winning stuff. But let's go to the first question. And it says, let me see if it lets me. Oh, you can show it. There you go. Okay. Give me a second. There you go. Burnout seems to be hitting hard with COVID. Work and relax are all in the same place, so it's hard to shut it off. Any suggestions on how to avoid burnout during these strange times?
I know. That was definitely something that I also experienced at the beginning of COVID, especially when we had to work from home. It's like, okay, I am stuck at home and I am stuck at the desk in my room for the moment that I wake up. I wake up and I log into my computer at work. And then I guess I am done and I'm still in my room. Or I know a lot of people kind of struggle with being, I guess, in the same place at the same time. But for something that has helped me, or what I suggest, is getting up and moving. If you have a backyard, or if you even have just being able to move to a different space around your home is something that will help mentally, and just moving your body will hopefully help you, I guess, shake the feeling of being stuck in one area during COVID. So I think, like how that will help with burnout is you won't associate that space with that same task that you're completing, if that makes sense. I would say, even if you're in your room or at your house stuck at home, I personally love like doing workouts. So I don't know if that's something that you're into, but if you like doing workouts or just doing different activities within your home, please try to turn off your computer, shut the computer off, and get your body moving. A good way to avoid burnout is exercising, and I recommend that all the time. But also, if you are able to do this, turn off your notifications. I turned off my Instagram email notifications after a certain time, so I can dedicate time to myself and completely shut out from anything that's work or, I guess, school related, from obligations, so you can dedicate time to yourself.
Okay, we're gonna do one more question. Let me find it again. Okay. I think being a Latina, we tend to work harder than others because of how we were raised. What do you think? One of my old bosses told me that he hired an intern that will stay more than his 8 to 5 p.m. Work schedule.
This is so true. I feel like there is that stereotype that I guess being a first generation student, that being an immigrant or being Latina, you have to work extra hard to make your success count. I know I've met a lot of people who feel like, oh, I've come to this country and so I have to like work extra hard and I have to make my parents proud, or I have to make my parents feel like the sacrifice that they made was worth it. And that only puts pressure on ourselves. Unfortunately, it's not an uncommon feeling. And it does feel like at the end of the day, it's expectations that we set on ourselves. If we're really realistic, we are in control of our lives. We get to make our choices every single day. We make the choice to be happy. We make the choice of in which direction we want to take our lives. And the only responsibility that we have is with ourselves. For the question for having a manager that expects you to work longer hours, don't let this become a habit. I know a lot of people, I mean, there's something that I personally heard as well, like, oh, you're a salary person. You need to make sure that you, I guess, complete your job, even if some days it might take longer hours. Yes, some days, you know, maybe like once or twice a week, you might just need to stay later. There's days where I've had to come in on a Saturday morning to shut off a furnace and secure my lab that I was running, but don't make it a habit. Occasionally, yeah, that's fine. That's sort of, I mean, this is your job. You need to complete and perform well because it's your job. They're paying you. However, I knew someone else who like every single day they were expected to work 10 hours and they were just paid for 8 hours. That's not legal. That's straight up not legal. But this is why you need to create boundaries. And if your boss doesn't respect that, I think you should try to find a different place to work for. Even if it's right now, it's difficult to find a different job, but you deserve a lot better than someone who doesn't appreciate your time and values your mental health. I know for me, my boss does check in and make sure that mentally I'm doing well and that my tasks are not overwhelming me. And I think every single employee deserves a manager or a boss that cares for them.
I think that's super important that they check up on you. I feel like
it's so important. I mean, your manager is your advocate. They're there for you. They're there to lead the team. So it's so important for them to do those type of check-ins or one-on-ones. And I'm so grateful for my manager for doing that because, I mean, we're all human. We're all human. We're working for the business and meeting those deadlines is important for our customers. But at the end of the day, we're human, and having that support system, a manager and mentors who understand that is what will help you be successful and continue the company making money at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. We are going to move into a small giveaway. We're going to do a couple prizes. But yeah, give a round of applause for Lara. I think all these topics are super helpful. This one is really it's really helpful to me. I know I was having couple hard trouble a couple weeks ago, and just having this community of Latina engineers that we talk to each other was really helpful because we were talking each other through it. So okay, yes. So I'm gonna start with we have Amazon gift cards. They're $50 Amazon gift cards. So I'm gonna pick two. I already have the list, but the first one is for Victoria. Here, I don't have her last name, but I have her Instagram handle and email. So her Instagram handle is @_st.vic. So I'll write it here. So if you're here, let us know that you're here. We will contact you again after, even if the winner is not present. We're gonna contact them. We'll make sure that they get it. That is her account. And then the second winner for another $50 gift card for Amazon is Melanie. Her Instagram handle is Melanie_Evangelista. Congrats. Let me write it here so that you can see it again. Sorry, I can't spell this. Okay, there we go. So those are our 2 winners. We'll still have 4 more gift cards, and we have, I think, another 5 prizes from the Latina Engineer shop, and a surprise that I won't talk too much about too, and the scholarship. So, I mean, this is just a little bit. Oh, Melanie's right here. She just commented. That's me. Melanie, we're going to talk to you after this so that we can get that on your way. And then let's move on to the next chat, which is with Eva. She will be discussing, I lost it. Okay, advice and resources for women in computer science. Let me get your bio so I can present you properly. Okay, give me 1 second. You're on the spotlight. Eva Ruiz Alvarez is a recent graduate from the University of Houston, downtown, UHD, earning a degree in computer science and a minor in mathematics. She will be kickstarting her full-time career at Accenture as an advanced application engineer analyst this fall. She has conducted research in bioinformatics, robotics, STEM outreach, and completed a software engineering internship at Chevron. Eva also has a strong passion for mentoring, helping, and empowering her STEM community to reach their goals and fullest potential. And everybody welcome Eva.
Sorry, I had myself on mute, but hi everybody. Happy first International Latina Engineer Week. Thank you for logging on. I'm about to start my presentation. Let me share my screen. Or do you share it, Gina? Okay. Okay. Is it on full screen mode? Sorry, I just want to make sure.
You're good.
Okay, so hi everyone again, happy first International Latina Engineer Week. Thank you for logging on. In this presentation, I'll be sharing advice and resources for women in computer science. However, if you are a STEM student, some of these tips are also going to benefit you. So to introduce myself, my name is Eva Ruiz Alvarez. I am an immigrant. I was born in Monterrey, Mexico. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and a minor in Mathematics. I am a first generation graduate. And again, I'm an incoming engineer at Accenture. So I wanted to start off this presentation with the point or the tip of getting experience early on. So it's really important for you to take new challenges, take on new projects, so that you get an idea of what you like and what you don't like. I know for computer science, there's so many paths that you can take. There's so many paths under the umbrella of computer science. There's robotics, data science, data analytics, cybersecurity, software engineering. There's so much. And you're not going to know what you like unless you get your hands dirty and kind of understand what you like, what you don't like, and maybe you're going to develop an interest. So, for example, let's say you would have thought that you would have never liked cybersecurity, and then once you actually dabble into it, you fall in love with it. So it's really important for you to get experience early on, and it is also going to help you build your resume. So right here, I actually listed a few internship opportunities that are specifically for freshmen and sophomores in college. So there's some internships from Microsoft Explore, Microsoft New Technologies, all the way down to Code 2040 Fellows Program. And this program is actually for Black or Latinx students. So I wanted to list a few, and by all means, these are not all the other ones. These are not the only ones that there are. There's a lot more opportunities. But I think it's important to kind of get them out there, because I know there's a lot of freshmen and sophomore that may have the mentality that, oh, maybe I can't get an internship because I haven't taken enough technical classes, or I don't have enough skills yet to take on an internship. And that's not true. It's never too early to get experience. So please look into these. You can take a screenshot or whatever you like. Another thing, if you're not able to get an internship, you can also do an REU, or a research experience for undergraduates. And a lot of universities have these opportunities. You can go on the nsf.gov website, and there's a list of a whole bunch of REUs. And I think they also have it filtered by a major, or I think professors as well as in universities. So that's another good opportunity for you to get experience. And also you can reach out to your professor. You can ask them, hey, is there a research project available? Is there a research assistant position available that I can help with? So that's a good way to get experience. And if you are not able to get an internship or an REU, that is okay. You can do a side project. But the side project has to challenge you. It has to make you learn new skills, develop different skill sets. So All of these are great opportunities for you to get experience early on. And this applies to anybody. If you are in a university, at a college, if you're doing a boot camp, if you're learning on your own, try to get some experience so that you can add it to your resume. And so the next tip that I have is to seek out mentors. I know Paulina kind of touched on this subject as well, but it's really important for you to seek out a mentor, not only as a student, but even as a professional. If you already have like 20 years of experience, you can always be mentored. So seek out a mentor so that you can reach out to them for help, for advice, for any questions that you may have. They're there to help you, to guide you, to kind of steer you in the right direction. They can also help you network and kind of prevent you from making those beginner mistakes. And so who can be a mentor? A mentor can be an upperclassman, a professor, a colleague, a peer, and even someone on social media. So that means that you can be a mentor. Everyone who's logged in and who has been a part of the International Latina Engineer Week, you are a mentor because you have your own experience and you've had your own learning lessons, your own challenges. So you have different wisdom to give. So everyone here is a mentor, but you can also be mentored. So hopefully you have found a mentor throughout this week, or you have become a mentor for someone. And the next tip that I have is to have a support squad or a support system. This is going to help you because you are not alone. There's always someone else who is going through the same thing, through the same experience. Maybe there's another mom who is at a university studying STEM. Maybe there's another student who is also a first-gen student. So find a support system. And this is actually one of the things that really helped me as an undergraduate, because again, I was a first-gen student, the first person in my family to get a STEM degree. So I really didn't have anyone to go to for advice in my close circle, like no one in my family. So I decided to build a support system on campus because it's going to help you being surrounded by people who are going to encourage you, who are going to uplift you, and that it's a two-way street. You're all helping each other with opportunities. I know on my campus, we would all help each other with like homework, what classes to take, what professors to take, and we would share opportunities and internships and all that stuff. So it's really important for you to have a solid support squad. And I know I mentioned mine in campus, but you can also have it virtually, so in person and virtually. And I know all of you are in the IG group chat, so that is one of your support systems. So hopefully you feel comfortable asking questions, asking advice, reaching out to anybody. So that is one of your support systems. And the last thing that I want to mention is that collaboration will always go over competition. Remember, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go together. So have a support squad. The next tip, like I mentioned, this is actually a tip that can be applied for anything basically, and it is patience and practice. So practice makes perfect. Like with anything, if you want to learn how to play the guitar, you have to keep practicing in order to get good at it. And so coding does take lots of practice. So try to do it daily if you can. And I know doing it daily, that may be too much for some people because, you know, you may have other responsibilities. But if not, try to schedule a few hours or X amount of hours to practice every week. And whenever you have a moment to where you feel discouraged or like a moment of weakness that you're up late trying to finish a programming assignment and you're feeling discouraged, remind yourself of how far you've come at that moment. Remind yourself of, if it has to come down to it, remind yourself of your first Hello World program and tell yourself that you did not come this far to only get this far. And another thing that also helped me whenever I was having those moments, because I did have those moments as an undergrad, was my why. Thinking of why I'm going into this career field, why I'm going into tech, into computing, studying a STEM degree. So that's going to help you a lot. So be patient with yourself and always, always practice. Okay, so this is another big tip that I have specifically for computer science students or computer engineers. So I know for us and a lot of other STEM students, we don't just get a behavioral interview, we also get a technical interview. So we have to practice for those. And a lot of companies focus on asking questions on data structures, algorithms, and big O notation. And there's a ton of resources for you to practice these questions with. I actually listed a few, but there's a lot more than this. So the first one I have here is HackerRank, and this is an online resource, and this is a really good resource for you to practice technical interview questions. Companies, a lot of tech companies and various different companies use this platform to actually send out their coding challenges. So I think this is a really good opportunity and resource to kind of, you know, get that practice going. The next one is LeetCode. This is also a really good resource because it is very similar to HackerRank. It's also online, you can practice, but they also post top interview questions that are actually being asked by companies, top tech top tech companies. So you can actually see real questions that are being asked in interviews, and you can practice those. So that's another good resource. And the next two, I have them highlighted because I honestly haven't seen these two resources get enough exposure or get enough or being talked about enough. Like when I didn't learn about them until my senior year as an undergraduate, and I think they're such great resources. So the first one is codepath.org, and this is a really good resource. They have courses on iOS development, Android development, cybersecurity, but one of their most popular ones is the summer interview prep course. So this is actually a summer class. You meet, I believe, maybe 3 times a week, and you are paired with a mentor, and they go over everything and anything about technical interview questions. So they prepare you to do well in those technical interviews. And that mentor that you get paired with is actually a person who works in tech at one of the companies that partner with codepath.org. So I think that's a really good opportunity. At the end, I believe they also have a career fair, and they schedule interviews for you with the companies that they partner with. So please look into codepath.org. I think it's such a good opportunity. And Wallbreakers is also very similar to codepath.org. However, Wallbreakers focuses more on students that have already graduated and are looking for a full-time job. So this is also really good. It goes in very in-depth about all the technical interview questions, how to approach them, how to solve them. And again, you get paired with a mentor. There's a career fair. There's different companies that partner with Wallbreakers and codepath.org. So I think those are really good opportunities for you. And they are free, but you do have to apply for them. So be on the lookout for those. Those are really good resources. And I also wanted to share that when you are practicing for your technical interviews, have a study plan. So know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. If you know you have to practice more on a certain topic, then do so. Schedule out some hours that you want to study for those topics leading up to your actual technical interviews. So have a study plan, and also practice thinking out loud, because this is actually going to help you a lot during the actual technical interview. If you're thinking out loud, if you're speaking out your thinking process, your design process, your logic process, the interviewer is going to get an idea of how you problem solve. So it's really important for you to start practicing that. And also in the interviews, if you do that, the interviewer will know in what direction you're going, and sometimes they do give you hints. And lastly, I wanted to share to also ask clarifying questions during your technical interview. So if you know that you don't fully understand the problem, what it's asking, make sure to ask a clarifying question, because you don't want to, code out a solution for like a completely different problem that had nothing to do with the problem that they gave you. So that's what I have on technical interview practice. And I know Lara gave a beautiful presentation, everything about mental health. I did want to briefly touch on it a little bit because, the tech industry, the tech world is notorious for, causing burnout, but that doesn't have to be the case. And I think it's important to kind of take care of your body and your mental health early on so you can establish that healthy lifestyle, healthy work-life balance, and boundaries. So what I suggest, some things that actually helped me, is to get an adequate amount of sleep. I know sometimes we can stay up late programming, or maybe because we just enjoy it and we're in the zone and we can't stop, but it's also important to get adequate amount of sleep, and that's going to help us, keep doing and keep being productive. Next is to eat as healthy as you can. And I know not everyone can afford to eat super healthy, so do try to eat as healthy as you can. It's going to give you more energy and you're going to feel better, as well as staying active. So try to stay as active as you can. I know we all have different responsibilities and maybe we might not have enough time to stay active, but I think that's also important to take care of yourself. And also process your feelings. If you're ever feeling stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, take a break and process your feelings. If it means that you want to meditate, then meditate. If you want to talk to your girlfriend, talk to your girlfriend. If you want to vent, then do that. Do whatever your body is asking for you to do so that you can take that break and that proper rest. And I wanted to also say that rest is productive. So don't think that it means that you're a bad student or a bad worker if you're taking rest, because that's actually the smart thing to do, to take care of your body, take care of your mental health, and have that good work lifestyle balance. And so I also wanted to share some resources. A lot of these are for, I guess, students and professionals in tech. The first one I have is Tecnolochicas. This is such a good organization aimed to empower women in tech, women in STEM, women in computing, specifically Latinas. And I have their Instagram handles next to them as well. It's such a good organization. They have lots of workshop opportunities to network, and they also do a lot of community outreach to the youth. So I think that's a good organization to be a part of. There's also Women Who Code, and I love Women Who Code. It's an international organization. They have different subgroups too. They have Women Who Code Data Science, Women Who Code Python, I believe, Women Who Code, and they have different little chapters. So they have Women Who Code Dallas-Fort Worth, Women Who Code Monterrey, Mexico City. It's all over the world. So I would suggest for you to, look into that organization. They have lots of opportunities for you to network with other women in tech in the industry. And they also have such good technical workshops. Like about a week ago, I participated in one of the Women Who Code Data Science workshops, and they actually have a 7-series workshop on machine learning, and every week they're going over a different machine learning algorithm. So you can also expand your technical skill sets with these resources, with these organizations. So I highly recommend Women Who Code. So that's their Instagram handle. The next one is Tequeria. This is also a good resource for students and professionals in tech and computing and STEM. They also have good opportunities for you to network, and they also have great workshops too. I think a month ago they had a workshop on technical interviews. So follow them, get to know the organization, try to get involved. And again, there's Latinas in Tech, Latina Geeks, and they're all great organizations. There's also AnitaB.org. They actually have local community chapters. I know they have one in Houston, in Austin, in Chicago, and it's international as well. So try to go on their website and see if there's a local community chapter in your city or nearby. I know here in Houston, they would have book club meetings and also coffee and code. But now, since everything is virtual, you don't necessarily have to be in that city, so you can participate in all of the workshops that they're having. So it's also a good opportunity for you to network. And this last one, I wanted to really note it, the Rewriting Code. So Rewriting Code is an organization for women in college who are pursuing a career in tech. And next week, they're actually going to have a career fair on October 20th and the 21st. And it's open to all undergrad and graduate women in tech. I believe the registration fee is $15. But if this is an issue, you can write an essay. And I'm not sure what the topic is about, but you can look on their website or on their Instagram profile. So that's the registration fee, and it is for internships and full-time jobs. So if you are on the lookout for an internship, or if you're about to graduate and are looking for a job, I think this is a good opportunity for you to go to a career fair, get those interviews. I know Grace Hopper Conference, they postponed their career fair, so maybe this is a great opportunity for you to still get those interviews going. And so the last pieces of advice that I wanted to share is to first be confident and believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities, believe that you deserve that spot on the table. If you do that, you're going to go so far in your career. So please be confident, believe in yourself, because you can and you will get there. Number 2 is to own your journey. So you are the only person that gets to write your rules for your journey. It's your journey, your learning experience, your path. So don't let anyone else tell you how you should do your journey. So I know Gina and Paulina touched on this as well, but if you are a woman in tech, in computing, in STEM, and you like getting glammed up, dolled up, putting makeup, dressing up, putting the heels, like own it. Don't let someone tell you that, hey, women can't be multidimensional. You can own your journey. If you are a person that doesn't like going to hackathons or coding competitions, that's fine, that's okay. So own your journey. Or if you are a person that during the summers, you'd rather go visit your family in Mexico, or back home, or you'd rather, do a volunteer trip abroad. That's okay to own your journey. You're the only one who gets to write the rules of how you're going to take your career, your learning experience, whatever your goal is. The third one is don't be afraid to say yes or no. So don't be afraid to say yes because you're going to get out of your comfort zone or because you're going to get uncomfortable. These are actually going to be the experiences that are going to, be the most rewarding, that you're going to learn the most out of. So don't be afraid to say yes. But on the same note, don't be afraid to say no. If an opportunity is presented to you and it does not align with your career goals or even your personal goals, or if something just doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to say no. Again, remember, it's your journey, so own it. And I think this is it. So thank you for everyone that's still logged on and has been a part of the first week. Thank you, Diana, for organizing this amazing week, this amazing conference. Happy first International Latina Engineer Week. Hopefully, I can get to see you next year in person. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And let's keep in touch. That's my Instagram handle, and my LinkedIn, you can just search me as Eva Ruiz. So this is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Okay. Well, you took it away. I was going to leave it so they could follow you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, I don't have any questions that I saw. If you do have any questions, si tienen preguntas in English and in español, you can ask them in the comments. I'll give it a couple minutes for them to load the questions. In the meantime, I am gonna go over a couple more giveaways. And while I'm doing this, like, guys, we've been here for a little while. Stand up, drink water. Let me get to the giveaway winner so that we can do that. Well, and if you have questions, put them in the comments in the meanwhile. So let me get to you. Okay, so let's keep going with the, give it a second. Okay. With the gift cards from Amazon. So the third person that gets a $50 Amazon gift card is Sarah Cosart. Her Instagram handle is Sarah Rose Codes. Sarah, if you're here, let us know. We all want to celebrate with you. That's her Instagram handle. If anybody sees it pop up in the comments that she's here, let me know because I can't do them both. The fourth person is Stephanie Torres. Her Instagram handle is Steph Alberry. Let me write. Alberry. I think that's what it is. Okay, so that's two. We do have a couple questions now, so let's move on to that, and then we'll do the rest of the giveaway after Fernanda goes. So the first question, let me make you the spotlight. There you go. And then, where is it? How did you balance schoolwork and social life in college?
I think I kind of, first of all, I always had a physical planner. I think that actually helped me out a lot. And also kind of doing the boxes and actually checking off stuff that you have to take care of. That helped me out a lot. I found it satisfying to actually check off my tasks. So I kind of prioritized what I had to do first, like my assignments. I know programming assignments can take hours, like 5 to 10 hours. So I would kind of prioritize what I had to do first. And then, if I had any time, I would also be with my friends. But most of the time, I was always on campus. Like I would leave early in the morning and then, get back home like super late, like at 10 or 11 at night. But I also did have a job on campus. I was a computer science and math tutor. And that's kind of what helped me out a lot, kind of prioritizing what I had to get done first, what was more important. And that would allow me to have more free time. Yeah. And my social life, a lot of my social life was at the university. So that's kind of how I balanced it.
Okay, we have another question. This one's in Spanish. Un lenguaje que recomiendas todas las ingenieras deberíamos saber.
Todas las ingenieras. So it depends. Depende. See, I would highly recommend, sorry, I'm going to answer it in English. I would highly recommend for you to learn Python. This is for any engineer because it's very easy to grasp. There's a lot of online libraries, a lot of, tutorials out there for you to use to learn Python. But if you are a computer science student or kind of want to get into software engineering, I would recommend you to learn either C++ or maybe Java because they do cover more fundamentals, such as like pointers and garbage collection and all that stuff. So definitely, they're both great languages, Python, C++, and Java. So those are the ones that I would recommend.
Thank you. Okay, so those are all the questions that we have. Let's give a round of applause for Eva. And let's move into Fernanda's presentation. Okay, Fernanda. So she will be covering graduate with zero debt. And Fernanda Zulante is a chemical engineer, PhD student at Yale University. She is a content creator and Etsy store owner at Engineering Baddies. She is a proud Latina immigrant, first-generation student, and mother of one. And we'll add the account for her Etsy shop in the comments.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited. I can't believe this is real, that this is happening. Like I remember a few days ago we were talking and like Diana came up with this idea and now it's this big conference. So like happy International Latina Engineer Week. Thank you for tuning in and like staying the whole time. This obviously it's valuable information and I'm so happy that we got to connect. I mean, that's the reason why all of us are in social media trying to share content about STEM in our journey and in our life, but also we want to connect with other Latina engineers. So I'm gonna start sharing. Yes. Okay, so before I start with my presentation, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about me. Like Diana said some things. I'm a chemical engineer. Right now I'm a PhD student at Yale. But I also wanted to say I'm a mom. I'm a first generation student. I was born and raised in El Salvador, and I came to the US when I was 19 years old. So like I started learning English when I came. So it was definitely a challenge. And, you know, like all of these things, like being a Latina, an immigrant, a first generation student, and a mom while I was in engineering school, everything was a challenge, but I did it, right? But this is the reason, the reason why I bring it up. It's because this is the reason why I share my journey on social media, because I really like when I was going through that, believe me, like when I found out that I was pregnant, I went to YouTube and I'm like, student who's pregnant or something like that, right? To try to find people who looked like me. And I actually didn't find, I think I found like one girl, but she wasn't a Latina. Like there was no people out there that looked like me that was going through the same thing. So this is the reason why I share my journey. And if like, I want you guys to connect with me, ask me questions. At the end, I'm going to share my Instagram handle and everything. But if you have any questions, if you're going through the same things that I went through, like I want you to reach out to me, to reach out to all the girls that presented today, because we're open for questions and we want to help you. So now let's keep talking. Let's start talking about how to graduate with zero debt from college. So I graduated with zero debt from college, and I didn't have like this massive scholarship. You know, some people can get it, but I didn't have one. I mean, I didn't go to high school here. I didn't take the SAT. So when I moved to the United States, you know, while I went through like all my college career, I was just like trying different things, and I'm gonna share like these tips today. I know that sometimes like maybe there's so like they're gonna look like something so easy to do, but like maybe you didn't even think about it. So here they are. First one is I advise you to start at a community college. I know there's a big misconception about community colleges. I've heard this a lot. Like I didn't know it at the beginning, you know, because I wasn't from here. So for me, it was like, oh, you know, a community college was like a regular university. But then like I remember my husband was telling me he graduated from high school here in the United States. And when he was telling me that when everyone was graduating and saying like where they were going, nobody like wanted to say they were going to a community college, and his mom actually told him to go to a community college because it was cheaper, and he didn't want to. And you know, like that's like I started seeing that it was a part of it. It was like a big misconception. People think badly about it, but honestly, there's so many benefits about going to a community college, and one of them is that it's way cheaper. Like it's definitely way cheaper than starting at a university. And like most of the time you can study there for your first 2 years So that's like half of the time that you go to college, and you can save a lot of money. And like it doesn't hurt you to go to a community college. I went to a community college, I graduated, and now I'm a graduate student at Yale. So like I did fine, and I have so many classmates from the community college that have amazing careers, amazing jobs, and they're doing just fine. So believe me, you're gonna be fine. And yeah, so like you can, while you're at the community college, you can do whatever time you want. It doesn't have to be the 2 full years. But you can take as many classes as you can, and make sure that these credits are gonna transfer to the college that you're gonna go after, towards your major. Second tip is for you to live at home if you can and commute. And my question is like, do you really need to live on campus? I think this is like an American thing. Like people go and live on campus to live the experience. In my case, like I didn't know about this because I came when I was older. So like for me, it was normal to commute because in El Salvador, everyone commutes. But I've seen these that people want to get out of their house and like go to live on campus, but you have to think like, do you really need to do it? Because yeah, maybe it's cool, but like if you want to think about your finances, it's just better to stay at home and see what works best for your finances. Because I know that you have to take out loans to cover to live in the dorm, and that's just gonna increase the loan that you're gonna get. So yeah. Then the third one is study in state, because like if you're, for example, for me, I'm a resident in Connecticut, so if I go to a public college in Connecticut, then it's gonna be cheaper for me. But if I go to another state, then they're gonna charge me out of state tuition. It's gonna be more expensive. So if you have a scholarship to go to another state, to another university, that's fine, but I will suggest you to consider to study in state just because it's cheaper. The other tip is to work part-time. I had to work full-time, almost full-time since I started, and it actually helped me a lot. But if you can, that's fine. If you can just have a part-time job, or like a side hustle to cover small things, because these small things add up. And like when you're getting those loans, sometimes like you use to cover these things, but you can have that part-time job, right, to like pay for like parking fees, for example, which are very expensive. In my university, they charge me like $300 per year. Like what? But also like you can cover to pay your books. And another thing that I can suggest you is that if you took out loans, if you're working part-time, it will be a good idea for you to start paying off those loans, because there are different type of loans, right? I know there is a loan from the government that you can pay like 6 months after you graduate, but the other loans that as soon as you grab that money, then you start paying interest. So it's better to pay off money, even if it's just a little bit for you. Little by little, it adds up a lot, and you can reduce the amount of interest that you have to pay. Next one is don't take out loans that you don't need. And by this, I mean that imagine like you have to take the loan, and the loan is $5,000, but your tuition is only $4,000, an example. And so you have like that $1,000 left. And what I've seen that people does is that they take it and they use it for whatever, right? But my advice is for you not to take it. It's better just to like get used to living on a budget, and because if you take it, then you will want to use it all, and then it's like you have to pay it off later. So yeah, it's better just from the start, don't take it. Next one is apply for scholarships and awards. So as I was saying at the beginning, I know that when you graduate from high school, a lot of students, they start applying to like these big scholarships. Sometimes it's very hard to get these scholarships, and that they cover like full tuition. But if you don't get these big scholarships, my advice is for you to apply to many small ones. And I did this. I used to apply every single year to many small scholarships. And what I did is that I will go on Google, my best friend, and I will Google scholarships for, and then I would add anything that applied to me, like scholarships for women in STEM, for Hispanics in STEM, for Latinas, you know, whatever. Like I started like searching, and then I create a Excel sheet, and I'll add all of the scholarships that I found that I think apply to me. And then I will add like the deadlines and the things that you need, like the essays or recommendation letters. And then I will, put them in order according to the deadline to remind myself, like, okay, I need to apply for this one in May, and then this one in June, and like that. And I didn't get accepted to all, but I got accepted to, like I think between like 4 or 5 per year. Sometimes there was more, like $500 or $1,000, but it really helped me to pay like small fees, like the books, which are expensive, not that small fee, the parking fees, as I was saying, or like those codes that sometimes professors ask you, stuff like that, or just to like pay part of the tuition. And last one, it's to search for programs, and I put an example here. It's the NEBHE's tuition break program. Since I live in Connecticut, this is the only program that I know, but I will tell you a little bit about it in case you live in the New England area, and if not, so you can get an idea to see if you can find one in your area. So what this program does is that it reduces the tuition if you're a resident of one of the 6 New England states, and you go to another of these 6 New England states and you enroll to a public university there, you, as I said before, you will be paying out of state. But if you're part of this program, they give you like a discount, and I've seen the prices, they're almost the same as paying in state. So I don't know about like if there's this kind of program in another state, but just so you can get an idea. And that is it. As I was saying, these are my social media. This is my Instagram, Fern Sulantay, my YouTube, and I have an Etsy store where I design and create, I design and sell t-shirts for girls in STEM as well. So if you have any questions, please add them in the chat, or si los quieren decir en español también, de cualquier cosa me pueden preguntar, no solamente de lo que hablé ahorita, sino que también de mi historia o lo que sea.
And then you can reach out to Fernanda after this, just because we don't have so much time to go over every single question. So let me find where we started, because we have tons. Okay, so llegado el momento desde otro país, puedo solicitar a más de una universidad o postularme a más de un doctorado dentro de la misma universidad, por si no entro en la que quiero.
Que si pueden aplicar desde otro país a más de una universidad. Sí, eso es súper común acá. En realidad, o sea, cuando yo apliqué a mi PhD, yo apliqué a 5 universidades, o sea, y esto es súper común. La gente aplica a una universidad como que tu universidad de tus sueños, pero que vos pensás como que tal vez inalcanzable, a aceptar. Eso es súper común. Cuando yo fui a la universidad, pero sé que es súper común, la gente aquí aplica realmente como a 10 o más. La cosa es que es caro aplicar, ¿verdad?
Okay, next question. Can you share your experience working almost part-time and taking classes? Also, how many credit hours per semester do you used to take?
Well, so actually, I worked almost full time. Like, I mean, sometimes it will be full time. Sometimes it was 40 hours. Sometimes it was like 32 hours. I always worked that. And I was always a full time student. So it was a lot of work, but I feel like I got used to it because I did it since the beginning. And I tried to be like super organized. But at the beginning, yes, it was killing me. And I had to like, like start being more organized and but I knew, so like I had to work, so I knew I had to work, but at the same time I wanted to graduate as soon as possible, so I still took the four I was still a full-time student.
Next one is, ¿qué recomendaciones tener en cuenta, además de un buen promedio, para solicitar una beca para ir a estudiar a Estados Unidos para un doctorado?
Para un doctorado. Ok, so para tu doctorado, actually, no necesitabas una beca, sino que cuando te aceptan para un doctorado, la universidad te paga. Es como que estuvieras trabajando para ellos y el pago que ellos te dan es suficiente para que vos te mantengas. Entonces, después que vos apliques y ellos te acepten, entonces ya es como que es un trabajo y ellos te ayudan a hacer, como cuando venís, es como vas a... ay, se fue la pregunta. Puedes ponerlo otra vez.
La estoy buscando.
Okay. Pero la pregunta era como, además de un buen promedio, so el review, o sea, ellos revisan varias cosas, no solamente tus notas, sino también revisan las cosas que has hecho, si tenés experiencia como investigadora, si tenés voluntariado, también tu essay, tu ensayo es la oportunidad tuya para que vos puedas hablar. Digamos, si tuviste una mala nota o algo, vos puedes hablar de eso. Por ejemplo, cuando yo tuve mi bebé, ese semestre me saqué una mala nota y ahí yo lo expliqué. Dije como que, o sea, no me enfoqué tanto en eso, pero dije como que, o sea, no pude salir tan bien como quise. Pero sí, te ven como que todas las cosas y también tus cartas de recomendación son súper importantes.
Last question. How do you go about applying for scholarships or fellowships for grad school? Also, if your company offers it, how would you ask them?
I'm guessing that if your company offers it, yeah, then you can just ask the HR, I guess. Yeah, you can ask the HR how's the process of applying. I don't think you have to like ask for it. It's just like given in some companies. Like sometimes you only have to work for a year, and then when you're done working, when 1 year passes, then you're eligible to apply for these programs. And then for fellowships for grad school, actually there's the application, it's very similar to applying for grad school because you need recommendation letters, GRE grades, and the essay. So usually people, when they're applying to grad school, they also apply for the fellowship and like kind of use the same material. By the way, like one big fellowship for Latinas in STEM, it's the GEM fellowship, and which is targeted to minority students.
Awesome. Okay, let me put everyone back. So thank you so much, Fernanda, everybody. Thank you. That is amazing content. All the presentations were amazing. Let me check if Gina's back. Gina's been here and we didn't know. Hi Gina, you're back. So we reached I think it's the most exciting. I mean, not that the presentations weren't any good, right? But who doesn't want a scholarship? Who doesn't want to help a Latina engineer get through school? Like, I got scholarships and I wanted to give back to other girls going through engineering. So actually, let me finish the giveaway first. So I'm going to make you wait a little bit more. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so we have 2 more Amazon gift cards. Again, all this giveaway, it's sponsored by LPL Financial. Ana Reyes, she reached out to me and she just wanted to give back to Latinas in engineering. She's a great supporter. She supported me when I first started my page, and now she wants to keep empowering Latina engineers. So the next winner for an Amazon gift card is Kimberly Lopez Espinosa @_Kimberly. and Paloma. I don't have Paloma's last name or Instagram account, but I have your email. So I will email you and I'll get it to you. Kimberly, if you're here, let us know. Well, Atara sabe, but no. Kimberly, if you're here, let us know. Now let's get to the Latina engineer goodies. So I'm gonna raffle 2 sweaters, 2 water bottles, and a set of stickers. We did some on Wednesday as well, so we had winners for those 2. So the first sweater, and the sweaters are completely customized for the person who wins it. And the first one goes to Cindy Gomez, Instagram account idalis_23. Cindy, if you're there, let us know. We all want to cheer. The second sweater is for Blanca Soto. Instagram account is Blanca_0111. And then we have a water bottle, a clear water bottle that either says Ingeniera or STEMinist. And this one goes to Monica Morales, Instagram account Aquanier. The second water bottle is the metallic ones, like this one right here. And that one goes to Juliet. I don't have a last name or an account either, but again, your email. So I'll get that to her. And then the set of stickers goes to Salma Valentina Moreno Galeano. Oh, I forgot to mention where everybody was. Okay, anyways, Instagram account is Salma Vale. If any of you girls are here, if not, we'll contact you after all this is done over the weekend. Let's see, is anyone here that won? No.
Diana,
What's up?
forgot to do my giveaway as you were reminding me. But you can choose if you can choose someone else. Like I wanted. I told you guys that I have a store, so I wanted to give away one shirt, and I was gonna do an activity, but because we were running out of time, I was like, I forgot.
No, give me 1 second. Let's do
Okay.
this random. You cut me off guard, girl. Okay. The giveaway from Engineering Baddies is Mariana Anguiano. Her Instagram account is Mariana GVER.
Yay!
Oh, Salma's here. Salma's here. Salma, where are you from?
Giveaways.
Oh, no, she has an answer. Okay, let's move into the scholarships. So we were able to raise funds for 2 scholarships. Each one is just a little bit over $1,000. I'm super excited. You know, once we reached enough money for one, I was like thrilled. And then once we were able to reach 2 equally as much money for the scholarships, that was just amazing. So let me get back to my page. So the first scholarship goes to
Oh my god.
Daisy Martinez. Her Instagram account is daisy.mm, and she lives in California. She goes to California State University and is studying aerospace engineering.
Wow.
So, Daisy, if you're here, congratulations. Salma is from Colombia. She won the giveaway. I just wanted to mention that. But Daisy, if you're here, let us know. We're so excited. We're so happy to be helping you in your education. The second scholarship, which is also just a little bit over $1,000, is for Maria Peña. And she is from Texas, and she's going to Texas A&M University and is studying civil engineering.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Maria, if you're here, let us know. We wanted to celebrate with you. Those are all the giveaways, all the scholarships that I had. I have more announcements same announcements that I want to tell you again. I want to thank everyone who's been here. Has sat here for 3 hours with us, who've been watching all these amazing ladies speak, has been with us the whole entire week, all the content that we prepare, and just something that we pulled together in 1 week. It's just amazing. It makes me so happy to see all the faces of all the different girls from different countries doing all these different types of engineering and representing Latinas, so showing that we can do STEM, that we can do engineering, and that we're here to change the world. So more announcements before I let you go. It's that we will have a survey for the conference. That is on the link in my Instagram account. It's up now, so I will send you an email with that as well. But if you can help me fill that survey, it can help us grow this for next year, prepare better, know what you want to hear, what you want to see, what you want to learn. So please fill that out. And the scholarship, we'll reach out as soon as we get out of here. We do have the 2 job postings by LPL Financial. They're accessible now through the link in my bio in my Instagram account as well. They're there and they have contact information, descriptions, and everything. So, and they're remote, so you can work from everywhere you are in the U.S. And I think that's all I have. Thank you so much, everyone. I am super excited. I can't stop saying it. I'm super happy. It's been a long week, but it is one of the best weeks ever. I hope that we do this again next year and that it keeps growing. We can get more Latina engineers together. Girls, if you want to say anything, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm so excited. Thank you. This was amazing. I'm like about to cry right now.
It doesn't feel real.
Oh my god.
Kevin is here.
Well, and I promised my dad that I was gonna say hi to him. So hi, Dad.
Somebody said best hour.
Yes, thank you so much, Diana. Yeah, I can't believe it. You did it in like less than a week, and like you did amazing.
Yes, Diana.
A massive
Thank you,
congratulations.
Diana, for putting this together.
Yes, thank you, Diana. I mean, she reached
And I
out
can't wait to see you
here.
here.
We still have the group chats open, so reach out to everyone, follow each other, keep talking. This was something that we were going to have only this week, but I know a lot of girls want to keep going. They want to get to know other Latina engineers, so I will keep them open, and then I'll make a poll to see if we continue these groups or what do we do. Someone recommended like a Slack group for everyone that signed up, so that would be amazing. And then just, keep rocking and keep killing it in engineering. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye, ladies.